one of the greatest blessings of my life is being married to Cheryl, a godly woman who lives out a Christ-centered life. And it was a couple months into our marriage, 32 years ago, and she says to me, I think we should tithe. I said, oh, absolutely, we should tithe. But we can't right now because we just borrowed money from my dad in order to qualify for a loan for this house. So we got to pay him back, and then we can start, maybe tithing. And she said, well, I think that we should definitely pay your dad back, but simultaneously we should tithe. After all, it's God's money. And I was not happy about it, and I dug my feet in, and we compromised at 5%, but I was not happy about the 5%. I wanted 0% because I thought it was the logical, rational thing to do until we kind of got some savings built up and we paid back my dad. Maybe 8 or 9 months later, I think the Holy Spirit just kind of convicted me and changed my heart, and I came back and I said, we should. Let's tithe. And I actually felt good about it, and I felt joy. And so we started to tithe. And fast forward maybe about a decade into our marriage, one day she said, oh, listen to this charity that I just learned about. This charity helps unwed mothers give birth to their child and have necessary supplies, diapers, crib, food. Why don't we give some money to this charity? Don't you think that's a good charity? I said, that's a great charity. But we've actually met our tithe for the year. We've already given 10%. So, no, we can't. And she said, well, couldn't we take just some money out of that investment account that you keep stuffing money into? We wouldn't miss the money, and think of how many women we could help. And I am embarrassed to say that I put my foot down, and I'm like, no, we're not giving. We've already given 10%. Most people don't even tithe, and so we're not giving more. A few months go by, the Holy Spirit convicts me again, and I said, why don't we give some money to that great charity? And then for the next handful of years, we didn't quit at 10. And if there was other charities that needed money, we would give money. And then fast forward another 15 years in our marriage, and I come home one day on about my 50th birthday, and I said, honey, I just ran an analysis of our financial life, and we have enough money in investment accounts that I don't need to work anymore. We could live off the investments. And she said, well, you really like your job though, don't you? And I said, I love my job. And she said, then why don't we give 100% of your money away to charity? And I said, you are ridiculous. This is unbelievable. And she's like, wait a second, you just said that you could quit working and we could live off the investments. So why couldn't you then keep working and we just give away your income? And I said, this is just ridiculous. We're not doing it. And, I was upset, and I just thought, and sure enough, the Holy Spirit, once again, and it took me a couple months, convicts my heart. I go to confession and just confess that I was just stockpiling money, hoarding money for I don't know why, but I just was. And so we started to give 100% of my income to charity, and I had a joy that I've never had before. And I also I had an incredible discontent for the months right after I discovered that we had enough money. I just didn't really want to go to work in the morning. I would sleep in, and then all of a sudden I had a renewed sense of purpose. My purpose now was to work for Our Lady of Grace Church, the Archdiocese, St. Paul's Outreach, Net Ministries, the Pro Ecclesia Sancta Sisters, John Paul II School, these other great charities doing super work and helping people out. That's who I was working for. And so it gave me incredible purpose and joy. There's always a reticence to give money away because you are afraid that you're going to run out of money or you're not going to have enough money for yourself. And that's a legitimate concern for people. But at some point, if you do the math, you realize, I don't need all this money. And then when I started giving it away, I did experience a joy that I had never experienced before. And when I was hoarding it and just stockpiling it, and my concern was I'm building up my net worth, I didn't have the sense of joy. It still felt good. I can check the box. I've been a responsible provider for my family, et cetera, et cetera. And then Cheryl said it best. It's not really our money. It's God's money. We're just the stewards of it. And when I realized, I used to think it's my money. No, I earned it. I made it. It's like, no, it's God's money. God gave me the skills and gave me a job. And so